everyone, welcome back. Today's video is a review of the new book by Edward Enninful called A Visible Man. If you're interested in purchasing this book, I'll leave a link to it in the description box below. It's greatly appreciated when you use my links to purchase books because it helps support my channel. And with that said, let's dive right in. For those who don't know, because I didn't know until I picked up this book, Edward Enninful is actually the current editor-in-chief of British Vogue, and his new book, A Visible Man, is basically a memoir about his life. I do have some opinions about this book, but I'll start by giving you a quick rundown about what it's about. It's basically about Edward's life, and Edward was born in Ghana and lived there until he was a young teenager, which was when he moved to the UK. And he started off in fashion from a very young age. He was appointed fashion director of ID magazine at the very young age of 18, and I think he actually holds the record for the youngest person to ever hold that position. And from that, his career blossomed and he ended up becoming editor-in-chief of British Vogue in 2017. So that's quite an achievement, and I think it's a real testament to his talent and his determination that he was able to achieve such a wonderful position in his career. But this book isn't just about Edward's career in fashion. He speaks a lot about his family life and how his father was quite strict. And he also talks a lot about being a black man living in the UK and a lot of the racism and discrimination that he experienced because of that, which I think was a very powerful side of his story and a very important part of his story as well. And I'm actually really glad that he shared his experiences in this book too. It makes the book even more powerful than what it would have been if it was just about his fashion career. But the one thing that I did feel after reading this book was that I just felt like the book didn't quite do Edward's story justice. And I want to clarify by saying that when I refer to Edward's story, I mean his life story and his experiences and his emotions and him and his life. And when I refer to Edward's book, obviously I mean the written communication of his story. And yeah, I just felt like his story is so powerful, particularly because it combines him growing up in Ghana and moving to the UK at a young age, and then having this most amazingly successful, wonderful career in fashion. It combines that with the stories of the struggle that he faced and the discrimination that he faced sometimes, and how he always felt like he was starting a step back than everyone else because he was black. That is such a powerful, amazing, beautiful story that he was able to achieve so much in his career despite the setbacks that he faced. I just feel like the book didn't really encapsulate that as well as it could have, and I've really been thinking about this for a few days now. Why do I feel like the book just didn't do his story justice? And I think it's because in the book, he doesn't really go into any specific details about moments in his life. Like, his book is just one big story, and I felt like there weren't any specific points of the book where he goes in detail about certain stories or certain incidents that would really help to illustrate the challenges that he faced, or the highs or lows of his career, or the highs and lows of his life as well, really. There weren't any specific stories that he gave that really showed the emotions and the struggle, but also the sheer joys sometimes in his career too, and in his life. The book is just kind of, this happened, then this happened, then this happened, and now I'm here. And I feel like it comes back to that old saying, show, don't tell, where it can be so much more powerful to illustrate your point by showing different moments in your life where you felt a certain way or something didn't quite work, instead of just telling people. And even though Edward did speak a lot about the racism and discrimination that he felt throughout his career and as a black man living in the UK, and also about the lack of black representation in the fashion industry, I felt like the book just didn't really truly convey his passion and his drive and his absolute love of fashion, but also this undercurrent of wanting more equality and more black representation in the fashion industry. And I feel like if we had been given a few more specific moments in his life throughout the book, then the book would have been a much better representation of his story. Point in case, there was one small moment that he does talk about towards the end of the book where he was walking into the British Vogue headquarters and a lady thought that he was there to deliver some products instead of actually being the editor-in-chief of the magazine. And that, like, sharing that story, I thought was extremely powerful, and that was one of the most captivating moments of the book, I felt, because it showed a moment where he was discriminated against and it illustrated his struggle. I have actually been looking online at other reviews for this book because I want to know if my opinion is a common one or not. And I'm actually glad to see that no one else seems to think this way about the book either. I haven't read a single comment that says that they felt like the book didn't really match Edward's story, which I'm actually kind of glad about because I think that his story is so important, and I'm glad that it is translating through the book for most other readers. I guess I must just be the odd one out, that's okay. And so even though I think that the book could have been written just a little bit better to get Edward's story across, I am glad that I'm the only one. And I'm sure even if you agree with me, you won't be upset about reading the book either way, because Edward's book is just, it's wonderful. Even though, like I've already mentioned, I don't feel like it's written well enough to really get the true essence of his life and his story. I think it's still absolutely worth a read anyway. I think Edward's story is just truly inspirational and so uplifting and just wonderful, really wonderful. So despite what I've mentioned earlier, please get your hands on it if you can. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye.